Okay, I think we're good. I am recording over on Zoom, and you guys can see me all right on Facebook. This is great because I know last week I looked at the recording and it was just a huge blur. It was so bright. It looked like, I don't even know, it was just ridiculous. So anyways, I adjusted my lighting a little bit and we're good now. So what's up, guys? Man, a lot of people joining us is great to see. I'm excited about tonight's team call. And it is part two. For those of you who are just coming in, it is part two of the Conquering Your Fears series. And part one was absolutely incredible. I didn't expect it to go that long, but it is what it is. And that's why we have part two. And it's going to be a really good one today. So what did we talk about last week? If you guys are just brand new viewers, just tuning in for the first time, didn't see part one of the series, last week I talked about just pretty much how to overcome fear, right? So it's just an introduction to it. I talked about some of my story along with it. Jeff, no, it's not going to be a trilogy. I don't think so. I mean, who knows? We'll see how long this goes. But anyways, I want to just kind of go over some of the things that I talked about last week. And we talked about fear, right? So a lot of people fear a lot of things. I think that was made very obvious from all of the comments that we got on the TNL page, all of the comments we got on Facebook last week. I know there was like 200 something comments of people just talking about their fears and just agreeing with me with all the fears that I've dealt with in my past. And it was great to see. So it's showing me that a lot of you guys do have some legitimate fears, and it's okay, you know. But what we talked about, the first thing that we talked about was how to cure fear, okay? And there are 4 things that I talked about, and hopefully you guys remember what those were. If not, I'm going to go through those right now. Remember, action, knowledge, experience, and belief are the 4 things that cure fear, okay? So in The Magic of Thinking Big, David Schwartz, which is the author of the book, he goes through and he talks about each and every single one of these. Right? So a lot of people, what happens is, and again, I'm just reviewing everything that we went over last week, but what happens is because they fear something so much, they're so afraid to take action. And because they don't take action, they just continue fearing that thing. The way to get through and to battle and to conquer your fears is to face what you fear most head on. Okay? So in the example last week, I talked about my fear of public speaking. I mean, I was that guy who would get on stage and I would shake and I would make myself sick, and I never did it because I feared it so much. I never forced myself to get on stage and speak in front of people. But when I became a Beachbody coach and I started pushing myself outside my comfort zone and learning that I had to keep progressing as an individual if I wanted others to progress as well, I had to do the things that I was most uncomfortable doing, and I was getting on stage. Okay, so I forced myself to get on stage over and over and over and over again, and you combine that for 8 years, and here I am being able to speak on team calls, being able to speak on video, being able to speak in front of 5, 6, 10,000 people without any issues. In fact, I feel so comfortable on stage now that literally I don't get nervous at all. I mean, it's almost like I'm going on stage and I'm just talking to my best friend, okay? But the only way that happened, the only way I went from being so scared to get on stage and making myself sick to where I am now is by forcing myself to do the things that I'm most uncomfortable doing, and that was getting on stage and speaking, okay? So that was the thing that we talked about last week. And I wanted to reiterate that because we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the certain situations that I have written down here. By the way, I have a ton of notes. This is good stuff. Very interesting because in the past, I never used to prepare for calls. And then I started understanding the importance of it because there's a lot of information I want to share. I don't want to forget anything, okay? And by the way, there will be a Q&A session after this is done too. So if you guys have questions, just feel free to jump on. And those of you who are on Zoom behind me on my computer, just jump on my Facebook wall, facebook.com/Spence8. And if you have any questions whatsoever, just comment under the live post. So, because I'm not going to be checking the chat box on there. So the first thing I want to get into, okay, there's 4 things I wanted to address. These are 4 issues that I've seen, and not just Beachbody coaches, but in a lot of people in all kinds of industries, from CEOs of large corporations to managers, everybody. There's 4 things that I see so much, and I want to address those right now. Okay? Number 1, and a lot of you guys are going to relate to this, the fear of not being able to inspire people. How many of you, I seriously want to know, like if you have a fear of not being able to inspire people, I want you to put down in the comment box right now that you do. Okay? And I know a lot of you guys do. And the same thing with you on Zoom. A lot of people have a fear that they won't be able to inspire people. So the examples that I wrote down, sorry, my lips are really dry. I keep looking at them. But the example that I wrote down was, I have a lot of coaches on my team, right? We have, I don't know, 15, 20, I don't even know, something thousand coaches on our team. And a lot of people, they have some results, but they feel like they don't have good enough results to inspire people. Here's my response to that. If you've had any results, if something has changed your life, freaking talk about it, man. Because it doesn't matter if you lose 5 pounds. It doesn't matter if you lose 2 pounds. It doesn't matter if you lose 50 or 100 or 200 like my boy Richard Neal. It doesn't matter how much weight you've lost. If you have some sort of results, share it with people. Because there are people out there who want to hear your story. There's people out there who will be inspired by your story. Not everybody wants to lose 100 pounds. Not everybody wants to lose 200 pounds. But there's a lot of people out there who want to just lose 5 pounds. Share it, man. Because just posting that alone, just saying, hey guys, this week, like I've been on Shakeology for a week and I've lost 5 pounds, or I've been on P90X for a week and I've lost 5 pounds. Like, I feel incredible. This is the most progress I've ever made. During my first round of P90X, I lost 10 pounds and I was ecstatic because I could actually see, my first few weeks, my first 2 weeks of P90X, I lost 10 pounds and I was ecstatic because I got to see my abs. And I was content at that point. And I knew that I'd be able to inspire people at that point, because how many people are out there trying to get that 6-pack? And they have no idea what to do. But here I am, finally have found a solution. And this is something that literally could change other people's lives. And I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it all over social media. I'm sharing it on Facebook. I'm sharing it on these message boards I used to be a part of back in the day. You old timers, you old time Beachbody coaches know what I'm talking about. The Beachbody message boards, man. But it's not about having that like bam story. You don't have to wait for that perfect moment to inspire people. You can't believe how many people you can inspire, but just the littlest things. It's so important. Don't be afraid to share it. You can inspire, man. You have to believe in yourself. Like I said, and I'm going through my notes here, everyone has a story. Everyone can inspire. Okay? And then there's some of those of you out there who maybe it's the same exact thing with your team. Maybe you fear that you're not able to inspire your team. How many of you guys fear that? And you could be in another business, another network marketing thing. It doesn't matter. Or you could be a Beachbody coach out there. There's a lot of people out there who have a fear, a legitimate fear, that they won't be able to inspire their team and get them to do something underneath them. Am I right? Seriously, like I want to know, am I right? Because I know I'm right. But I want to see how many of you guys are actually dealing with this. There's a lot of people that deal with this, and I know this because you guys were commenting on it on the TNL team page. You fear that you're not going to be able to inspire your team. You fear that you're not going to be a great leader. Here's some key things that you can do to get out of that mindset. Okay? Here's what you got to understand. What inspires them is, one, your integrity. If you're running your business the right way and you're doing the right things in the right situation, you will be respected by your team. and they will be inspired by your leadership. Don't forget that. Number 2, your drive. How hard do you push to achieve your goals? Because if you look at me, you guys know this from seeing all that I've accomplished in this business, you know, as a father, as a husband, in the fitness thing. You know, you've seen what I've accomplished. My drive is through the roof. It's always through the roof. It's always been through the roof. My ambition is so far beyond what most people can actually comprehend. I push myself so hard on a daily basis. How hard are you driving? How hard are you pushing yourself? Next, number 3, your vision. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see your team in 5 years? What kind of vision do you have for your team? Share that vision with them. Number 4, your work ethic. You know, and this goes along the lines of your drive, but if you want to ask me what my work ethic is like, I was that guy, and I've shared this story so many different times. I'm going to share it again because it's super important, especially pertaining to this stuff. But I was that guy who was 12 years old. I was 12 years old, and I went down in the basement, and I hit 500 balls off the tee every single night until my hands were bleeding. Why did I do that? I did that because I knew the type of hard work it would take for me to progress as a baseball player. I put in the effort every single day. I've applied that to my fitness. I've applied that to my marriage. I've applied that to being a father, and I've applied that to my business. So if you guys would take a step back and look at my work ethic now, it's the exact same as when it was when I was 12 years old, that guy who went down into the basement and hit 500 balls off the tee every single night. I have an insane work ethic. I've always had an insane work ethic. Do you have an insane work ethic? And I know a lot of you guys on there, a lot of coaches out there, you got to be real with yourself. There's a lot of people who don't. You have to change that around. If you want to be successful in fitness, if you want to be successful in business, whether you're a Beachbody coach or CEO of a large organization, you have to put in 100% hard work every single day with whatever you're doing. If not, you're not going to be respected, right? So we're talking about this in regards to inspiring your team. Remember, you guys, we're all leaders by example. You guys are watching me, right? All the TNL coaches, all the 15, 20,000 coaches that we have on our team, you guys are watching me. You're studying me. I have to do my job and duty and responsibility to lead by example for you guys every single day. Are you doing that for your team? And if not, you got to change. So those 4 things, if you can ask yourself every single day, am I operating in this way? Am I doing these 4 things every single day? Then you will inspire your coaches. You will inspire your team. Make sense? It's super important, guys. But it all goes back to you being confident in yourself. You got to be confident in your abilities to be a leader. Like I've always been confident in myself, you know? I mean, for the past 8 years before that, you know, you guys know about my history of being bullied and whatnot, but I've been confident in myself for the past 8 years. I'm a different person than I was in the past. And that confidence has transferred over to everything that I've done. So even when I was just starting as a Beachbody coach, I had confidence that I could eventually become a leader and that I eventually could inspire my team. That it all starts with that. If you don't have confidence in yourself, we talked about this last week. If you don't have confidence in yourself and what you're able to accomplish and what you're able to do, there is no way you're going to be able to inspire other people. There's no way people will respect you. They won't follow you. They want to follow someone who is confident in themselves. Number 2, and this goes right along with the lines of what I was just talking about with number 1, you know, of fear of not being able to inspire people, fear of sharing your story. I know a lot of you who have had awful past, man, like absolutely awful. And I know that because you guys share your stories with me. And because you have gone through so much in your past, maybe it's you were in an awful relationship. Maybe there was abuse. Maybe you were bullied in school like I was. But whatever you went through, because all these things happened to you, you have a legit fear, and it's okay. It really is a legit fear. You have a fear of sharing that part of your story. Here's what you guys got to understand, and I see a lot of you guys here on Facebook. You guys got a lot of questions. I'll get to those here in a little bit. But I want to keep going with this, okay? Here's what you got to understand is that the fear, okay, so I want to make sure I say this right because it's important. The fear that you have is legitimate, yes, okay? It is legitimate that you are afraid to share your past and talk about the things that you've gone through. But when I was first starting as a coach, and really as I progressed over the past 8 years, and as I've really dug into personal development, I've really come to understand the importance of me talking about every single situation that I've been through, okay? That's why you guys know I have Lyme disease. I've been dealing with that for the last 3 months. You know, it's a hard thing to go through. You know, there's no denying that. I'm going through a lot of shit right now with that stuff. But you know what? Like, I want to share that. I have to share that part of my story. It's not, you know, sometimes I don't want to, but I have to, because there's some people out there, and I know this for a fact, there's some people out there who will be inspired by what I'm going through. Or maybe they're going through the exact same thing. You know, so, you know, Melinda's had a tough past, and there's a lot of other people who have been through these tough pasts, and, you know, maybe you've been through something with abuse. Here's what you got to understand, guys. You know, if you did go through an abusive relationship or something, there might be some person on a social media site that needs to hear your story. They need to hear it. Because if you're that person who's overcome that, because you more than likely have, if you've overcome that, you have to share that, because that gives people hope. It inspires them. But if you hold back and don't share that part of your story, then guess what? Then that person that might be inspired and maybe enough to reach out to you and say, listen, I relate to you, man. Like, I get it. I feel like you understand me. Can you help me? If you don't do that, if you don't share those parts of your story, that person is not going to reach out to you. They're never going to know that you've gone through it. So I get that you guys have been through so much, right? We've all been through so much. But I do as best of a damn job that I can to be as transparent, as real as I can with you guys, and talk about every single situation that I've been through in my life. I talked last week about the failures that I've gone through, you know, with baseball when I was younger, and the confidence issues and being bullied. Everything that has happened in my life, I literally have shared that with everybody. And I shared that to the best way I can. There's nothing I'm holding back. You know, there's even some times where I'll share, maybe Melinda and I are dealing with something, and I'll share that with you guys. But I do that because I want to inspire. Like, I want to show people that, hey, listen, no matter what you're going through, you can get through this. And again, maybe there is somebody out there that is watching that will be able to say, this guy gets me. I think he can help me. So you have to get over that fear of sharing your story. I just feel like we have a responsibility, and not just as coaches, but as human beings, to help people. Like, that's our job. That's our mission. What else are we here on this earth for? It's to help people. It's to make a difference in this world. And I'm a firm believer that we go through everything that we go through for a reason. I'm going through this Lyme disease for a reason. And I know why I'm going through it now, because it's all so clear to me. I'm in this situation because I can handle it. God put me in this situation because I can handle it. He knows I can get through it. And I'm a firm believer in that. And no one can say otherwise and convince me otherwise of that. I know that. You got to start believing that everything that you go through, everything that you've been through in your past is for a reason. For me, the Lyme disease, I feel like, man, you have no idea the doors that I feel like have opened from me going through this awful experience. You guys, I'm telling you, I was just saying to someone yesterday, you can't believe how many messages I've gotten from people about going through what I'm going through with symptoms and not having any answers, and just feeling hopeless. It's insane. But I provide, because I'm communicating about my story and I'm talking about everything that I'm doing to overcome this major issue, and guys, I'm feeling 100 times better than I was 5 months ago. I mean, I'm a totally different person because I'm going through it. I'm dealing with it. Now it's my responsibility, it's my duty to pass that knowledge on and help others do the same thing. Everything that you go through is on purpose. And you have to believe that. You're not going to go through something that you're not strong enough to overcome. All right, next one. Because we have like 7 minutes here on Facebook. Fear of rejection. I know so many people who fear rejection, man. There's a lot of people who fear rejection. How many of you don't like to hear no? Like, it's, okay, I'm looking at the Zoom up here. People are raising their hands, right? Everybody. It's just, everybody fears rejection. It happens, man. Here's what you got to understand. People are going to say no. Everybody's going to say no. There's going to be a lot of people who say no. It's time for you to stop dwelling on that and just accept that it's going to happen, man. You're going to share parts of your story, and you Beachbody coaches, you're going to talk about the things that have helped change your life, but there's going to be some out there who maybe they're just super skeptical about it, or maybe they've heard something about it, or, whatever. They're going to say no. It's okay, man. Like, deal with it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with your no, because that no is one step to that next person who's going to say yes. And then you can help that person change their life. But the problem that so many people come across is that when they hear no, they think it just doesn't work and they stop doing it. I mean, right? Seriously, you pull back from the business, or you pull back from everything else. If you hear no, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. You got to keep staying consistent. You got to keep pushing along, man. Because if you're doing, if you're a Beachbody coach or whatever, if you're doing these things for the right reason, then it's okay to keep continuing. Just because someone says no to me doesn't mean I'm not going to keep going on and talking to someone and trying to help other people. I'm just going to keep going, man. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep talking to people until someone says, you know what, man, you're right. I need to change. I know you can help me change my life. You got to get over that. You got to get over your fear of rejection. If you do, all right, so if you do get rejected, here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop and think, okay? Think about why you got rejected. Because a lot of the times, and this is not something I want to spend too much time on, okay, because it's kind of going in a different direction. But I want you to stop and think, why am I getting rejected? Maybe it's something you said, okay? Maybe it's the way you carried yourself. Maybe it was your lack of passion. Maybe it was your lack of confidence. But I want you to do this. I want you to analyze the situation. Ask yourself, why didn't this work? Why did this person say no? Maybe it is something to do with them, but most of the time you're going to find that it has something to do with you. Okay? And the absolute number one key is that once you figure out what's going on and maybe you did something wrong, then you adjust. We talk about all the time on the team calls, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. Right? Adjust. You have to keep adjusting if you want to keep moving forward. Keep adjusting what you're doing. And guys, and here's the other thing. No doesn't mean no a lot of the times. Most of the time, it just means not right now. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're in just the wrong place mentally. Maybe they're just not ready to make that next step in their life. That's okay. But you can't give up on that person, because if you know that this person needs help and they need what you have, don't feel guilty about talking to them again. I don't feel guilty because I'm approaching people with the right intentions, because I truly want to help people make a change in their life. That's my mission, that's my goal, that's my responsibility. All right, last one. I've got 2 minutes, okay? And this is going in a different direction. Fear of the camera. How many of you guys fear getting in front of the camera? How many of you guys fear doing something like what I'm doing right now and getting live on Facebook and doing this call about fear? Like, how many of you fear getting on a team call? How many of you guys fear getting on a phone call with your coaches? How many of you guys fear getting in front of the camera and creating a video of maybe of you talking about your story, or maybe it's a training video? There's a lot of people, holy cow, like everybody's like me. Yes, that's me. I'm the person who fears that. Okay, I was too, guys. Like, listen, man, I had a huge fear of the camera. I didn't know how the hell to talk on the camera, man. I remember my first time making a video, and I'm like, where the hell am I supposed to look? Like, seriously, do I look at myself, or do I look in the little eye of the camera? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared shitless, man. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do here. But the only way for me to get over my fear and to get better at being on camera and to do team calls and to even public speaking was by putting myself in that situation. So if you have a fear of getting on camera, right, of making videos, you have to tackle that head on. Do what you fear most. Because what you're going to find is that the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You guys have heard that so many times from so many people, but it's so true. The more that you do it, the easier it becomes. That's why, I'm still not 100% great on camera. I'm still learning things every single day. I'm still trying to become 100% confident on camera. There's things I'm always working on in regards to stuff like this, but I focus on doing it. Like, the way for me to get better at speaking is by forcing myself to do this right here. You guys have to do it. Get yourself on camera. And you guys are done on Facebook. See you guys. All right, so hold on. A lot of people watch it. 578 people on Facebook. It's crazy. So yes, guys, I mean, how was that? You Zoom people. Was that good? Was it helpful? Like, we all go through this shit, man. Like, seriously, we all fear stuff. Like, it's time to stop letting fear cause you to not take action. It's time to say, I am done with this shit. I'm going to tackle you head on starting today. Because if you can do this, guys, if you can force yourself to do the things that you fear most on a daily basis, I promise you, you will be a different person in a year from now. I swear to you that. You have to trust me on that. And I know that from experience. I really want you to think about that, okay? And I want you to start doing this. Start believing in yourself. Start being confident in yourself. You guys have no idea what you're able to accomplish, man. It's incredible. But you have to get out of your own way. You got to get out of your own head. Stop fearing things. All right. That's it, man. I'm done. Do you guys on the Zoom call, do you have any questions whatsoever? We have like 7 minutes. Is there any comments about it? Was it helpful? Anything? There's 73 comments? Oh my gosh. I can't read through all these. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of you can unmute yourself if you have a comment or anything, question, anything. How to prospect new customers. I don't want to get into that right now. That's a whole another direction. I only have a few minutes anyways, but anything regarding what we talked about with fear tonight. You got one? I see somebody raising their hand. Hold on. April, hold on. I'll unmute you. There you go. You're unmuted.
Okay. So if we're really afraid of like getting in front of the camera, where would you recommend starting other than, yeah, like talking, but like what kind of content, like where would you even begin? Because that just feels like this huge mountain that is very intimidating.
Absolutely. It's hard, man. Like it's hard. A lot of people, it's the same thing with social media posts. They don't know what content to throw out there to people. That's okay. That's okay. But I want you to think about the things that you're really good at. Okay? And I want you to think about your story. The number one thing you have to get on camera is your story. And I want you to practice that because and I'm telling you right now, that first time that you get on camera and share your story, it's going to be awful. Okay? You're going to watch through the rest of that thing and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so bad. But I want you to do it again. And I want you to become more comfortable. And I want you to do it again. And I want you to do it again. And then I want you to practice it. I want you to practice talking about your story with other people. I want you to do that. And it's not like a sales tactic or anything. It's to get you comfortable with sharing your own story, right? I've shared my story so many times that I'm like, I nail it, man. Like when I talk to people about it, I nail it. You have to get to that point, So your story is one thing. And again, think about the things that you're really good at doing. Like, what are your strengths? What are the things that you've overcome, right? Are you good with organization? Are you good with time management? There's so many things. Or maybe you're good at cooking, or recipes. Like my wife, she's awesome at cooking and coming up with excellent recipes. I'm trying to get her to do more stuff with that. Get on video and show people how to do this stuff, right? Find out your strengths and create videos and even social media posts surrounding your strengths. Is that helpful?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Josh, can you hear me?
I can. Hey, what's up?
Hey. Just to piggyback off what you're saying, especially for April, one of the things that I have a lot of my new coaches do is exactly that, is to start getting on video and saying their why. And honestly, a lot of them really are bad in the beginning. Yes. And just being really honest with them, especially you guys, as if you guys are growing team, have your growing teams, don't be afraid to be honest with people too when they're posting their video and asking for feedback. Like if it really sucks, let them know that they need to work on either enthusiasm or their, just kind of how they're speaking or their energy. And so your team pages are your safe places. So those are the best places for you to practice, these types of videos that Josh is kind of telling you guys to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it comes down to one thing, and we've talked about this before, but it's your passion that you use, because even when I was just starting doing public speaking and just starting on video, if I kind of lost myself in the passion, and just forgot that I was talking on camera, then all of a sudden things started becoming really good for me. I would watch video, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is really good. It feels very real and very genuine. And that's the same thing with getting on stage, man. I mean, now when I go on stage, like I completely lose myself, right? And even doing that team call just now, I completely lose myself. It's like I just go and I talk and I speak from the heart and I speak with passion, right? But I think, and I hope, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that when I speak and when I do these things, it seems real and it seems genuine and it seems that that I truly do care about other people and helping other people, right? And that's because I literally lose myself, man. I'm so passionate about what I talk about, but it's not like I've always been this way. I've looked at videos of myself in the past and I'm like, oh my God, this is awful, man. Like absolutely awful. And I would share parts of my story, but I'd be so monotone and speak all low and everything. And, but no, now it's like, bam, I'm like, if I want to yell, I'm going to freaking yell. Okay. I'm going to yell. I want people to understand that, man, I really mean what I'm talking about. So the number one tip I can give you is to speak with passion and from the heart. Because if you go through and you can feel that, other people will feel it too. All right? So, all right, guys, that's it. Man, apparently I got worked up. My face is all red. Jeez. I'm hot right now. It's hot down here. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. This is recorded. thankfully, and I will share it in the TNL page and in the Diamond Club, and make sure you share with your coaches. I think this is a really good call. So I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.